All right, and we're here with Mike, the man behind New Bedford Guide, and we're going to discuss an article he wrote today on the New Bedford Guide. Mike, nice seeing you. Thanks for being on the show, bud. Appreciate you coming on and helping me out with this.
Yeah, sure. I apologize to all the social media guys out there for being the bearer of positive news to the city. It seems like in the comment section, right? And it's funny though, like, you know, last year if I wrote like overdoses were up by 75% and those kind of articles,
you get a ton of clicks.
Well, you go to New Bedford Guide and type in arrested, type in police, and you'll see articles. So I write good and bad. We don't sit there and sugarcoat anything. In an article like this, I didn't write the title until the end. So you sit down and okay, FBI stats are released this week. Whether you think Mayor Mitchell, probed the FBI to release them this week or not, but they're released this week. We get press releases from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Took a look at it, went through the numbers. Google's a good friend. It's pretty hard to go through the site on the FBI and find
the navigation is not easy, but we do have it on newbedfordguide.com.
Yeah, so I think we're going to the website. You can see the numbers there. I took 2010 to 2016. So obviously, when the year ends, the stats ain't released January 1st. They take time to compile it, go for accuracy, because if you read the FBI's press release, they had to go back and actually update previous years. But the telling information is nationwide. And we're talking about violent crime. We're not talking crime.
Yeah, not crime. Just drugs. We all know drugs are bad.
Overdoses, prostitution.
This is all violent crimes, as shown on the chart. You can actually see by category.
So crime overall across the country, violent crime is up 3.4%, and that's like the biggest increase in 25 years. If you look at the article, homicides up by 7.9%, the highest. It's more than 20% in the nationwide homicide rate since 2014. New Bedford bucked the trend. Fall River, kind of went with the trend. So we kind of separated there.
Trend, yeah.
So they, some of the Boston outlets, they like to put out those top 50 lists. And so I put the top 10 in there and gave a link to the top 50. North Adams, who knew they were the top this year.
Yeah, you would never think that.
Yeah, so New Bedford, if you look at, there's these clickbait sites out there that kind of write these the 10 worst cities to live in, those kind of things. You put New Bedford. People
love showing them. You see it on Facebook. Look, again, we made it. And they love the misery, as you saw in the comments.
So New Bedford, is finished second or third many years back in 2013. Yeah. And we've dropped down to eighth, and you think you'd want to celebrate that if you're a New Bedford resident or even live in the area. We want people to visit New Bedford, so you want people in the area to feel safe, and that's the thing. So the article we put out, I wrote it up pretty quickly today, put it out there for people to consume. Standard Times actually beat me by 2 minutes. They got their thing out, saying we didn't coordinate or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I welcome you to go to the Standard Times Facebook or website, check it out there too. I think WSM's, I'm sure, going to cover all the news outlets. But, sometimes, and I was talking to the mayor today. We had the interview for his time. We try to give equal time to all the candidates. Talk to him, and they're talking about doing some kind of study to see, why the perception of New Bedford has this negative compared to the statistics, and you talk to him, and I was like, you have a lot of Facebook pages out there that are dedicated to New Bedford crime.
Yeah.
Or crime overall. Fall River does it, Boston, Brockton, there's all these Facebook pages out there. If you subscribe to 7 sites that are dedicated to scanner listening, you think crime is, through the roof. You're going to see 40 posts a day in your Facebook page. You're going to get it. And I understand. And, we have some people that are detractors, and you understand it. If you live on the worst streets, in the city, you probably don't see a reduction in crime.
You're looking at Ward 2, places like that. I can understand reading through the comments, you got guys like Carlos, Felix. He lives in the tough part of town, and he's always down there streaming live, and I get it. When you see Clyde in the corner doing his thing, and the prostitution stuff that you always see on the other Facebook pages, I get that. I really do. But you cannot look at these numbers, and the FBI is not trying to get the mayor reelected. The FBI is not trying to get tourists down in New Bedford. They're just putting out numbers that they have and that they were provided. And I could see, being a Dartmouth resident now, I do notice a little bit of change in the way the city, Ward 2 is a tough part of town, and it's going to continue to be a tough part of town. It's going to take a lot of work from within. This administration is already starting to do that to get it to change. But you got to celebrate positivity when it comes, and you just can't always look at the negative side. And this article does show us raw numbers and proof that something's working.
Yeah, I mean, some of the comments are, if you read into the about section, the FBI will tell you kind of how they come up with the numbers. Of course, it's relying on the police departments to report. The FBI is not coming in and collecting data every day and heading back to Washington, D.C. They're asking the police department to report this stuff. And some of the detractors will say, oh, is the police department reporting accuracy? Look, I have no reason to think the police are going to fudge numbers or who would ever, I don't think any of these things are going on. They're reporting the numbers. I think if you live in a bad neighborhood, you're not seeing a decrease. But if you live in, the whole as a city, you're seeing a decrease. And, look at if you bury down to the numbers, the one that surprised me the most was, so in 2013, the FBI statistics that they collect, they redefined what rape was. It used to be called, in the statistics, forcible rape.
Yeah.
Now, I put the definition in there. They're talking about pretty much
any sexual violent act.
In New Bedford, in the last, went from 100, I think it was down to like 68, and now
86.
to like 86, down 31. To 31, right? So they actually broadened the definition of rape to include more, and our numbers went down.
Our numbers still went
down. So you got
to
ask, like, the places like the Women's Center and those kind of places, they must be doing some kind of impact in the city of New Bedford.
Yes,
like, it's having something. And the other thing is, okay, another distractor will tell you that, less people are reporting crime. Are you telling me less people are reporting crime in 2016 than 2013? Or
because the Stop Snitching stuff was really hardcore in New Bedford back in 10, 11, 12, and 13. It's kind of chilled out since then, which we're going to actually talk about soon.
And I'm going to talk to the police chief. We'll probably bring him on next week at 1 o'clock on Thursday, talk to Chief Cordero. And, the idea of reporting anonymously crime, taking, control of your neighborhood. It's debatable if you think the police are getting out of their cars more, walking around. But I think potentially, I don't think the judges are taking care of the crime. I mean, if you talk to most people, like today we posted an article where a offender was, took 10 times to break into houses, and the judge finally gave him like 7 to 9 years.
The kid that was out on bail in Fairhaven.
Yeah, so you get...
Sold dope, got arrested, out on bail. Sold dope,
got
arrested, out on bail, and now he did it again.
Yeah, so clearly, I don't think the judges at the district level are really doing the job as, you talk to federal, I think federal do a pretty good job, but the district judges, and, you talk to a lot of people, they'll tell you it's because they don't live here.
Yeah.
They're imported in from other parts of the state, they sit on the bench in New Bedford, and they go home to their community, they don't really, they're releasing people back into...
Westport and the Cape.
So, credit due, the police are doing a great job.
Yeah, well, I'm going to, these people that are saying, they're underreporting, I've actually reached out to the New Bedford Police Union, and we're going to have them on, and we're going to see if they're being directed by the administration to overlook some of these things and kind of fudge the numbers. I am going to look into that.
Yeah,
I've already reached out to them. I reached out to them today because of this, and I want to see, are you being told to not report certain crimes by... I talked to the sheriff about this a few episodes ago, where the chief's becoming politicians and, following mayoral decisions and administrative decisions in that town or city. And I want to see if this is being passed down. I want to hear that, just like I've been talking to the educators before I talk to Josh, I want to talk to these police officers. And then I'm going to go back and ask the mayor, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask the police chief, what's going on? Are we doing stuff? Are these numbers accurate? And if so, great, congratulations. And we're happy. I don't want to disprove them at all. That's not my goal, but I just want to disprove the thought that the numbers are being fudged. That's my ultimate goal, because I want this light to keep shining on New Bedford that, hey, we're getting better, because we need it to get better.
Sure, and if there are some of the increases, vehicle theft up 12%, arson up 15%. We have the potential serial arsonists out there this summer. Yeah, you have been
reporting. There's no doubt in my mind.
Which we reported when that happened, and you put the numbers together. It happens at the same window, same kind of area, that kind of stuff. So there are some, numbers that the police look at and got to focus. But the real crime that is serious is homicide, aggravated assaults, and rape. And
right now we're tied for 2014 at 3, and we still got a couple months to go. So let's just pray
and I know the 2015 numbers was 5 because I remember that. So we don't need FBI to tell me that. And I have put in a request to chief police to say why is the 2015 numbers. Doesn't mean it's not out there. It's just on the FBI's website.
Yeah, they didn't put it out there.
I'm trying to get those numbers so I can come up in a follow-up update hopefully next week. That's going to show you the numbers. But really, from 2014 to 2016, 15 is important but not as relevant when you're showing the numbers over 2 years.
Yeah.
And there's a decline, overall. Arson kind of stays the same over the years. But and I would say, again, and I wrote an article on this. It's kind of funny. Is like, the snitching. I wrote an article to define what snitching is. You talk to people of, I say, okay, let me explain what snitching is. You're on the Goodfellas movie, Joe Pesci, you get pinched by the FBI, you've been doing crime for 30 years, and you snitch on your friends to get lesser time.
That's snitching.
That's snitching, right? But you looking out your kitchen window,
while you're raising your children.
Yeah, you look out your kitchen window and someone's stealing a car, and you're like, well, it's not my business, I don't snitch. Well, matter of time, it's going to be you, the victim.
No, that's not. See, I've actually had this discussion. As you know, I work for the court system. I do interact sometimes with 10, 14 guys at a time during my workday. Probationers, I take out work crews to do work, and throughout the day during break we get to discuss things, and I did bring that up to them, the whole snitching thing, and a lot of them understand it. They get it. Hey man, if you're just a regular civilian, you're supposed to call the police. You're supposed to be a good citizen. But if you're in the game, selling drugs or committing these crimes and you're telling on each other, that's snitching. And a lot of them get that. And a lot of them see that. I think it's more of the youth that need to get that pushed on them, the whole stop snitching thing. I think that the older guys get it, you know what I mean? And it's guys with kids that see it. I don't want my kid to grow up like me.
And I just saw the article in the comment section. Click on it. I put the FBI stats, a link to every single year. You can go over it. I even put the 2015 year where there's void. It's funny, you hit Control F and you type New Bedford and it's not there. So we're trying to figure out that. So they're there. So go check it out yourself. And like you said, you're your own man. You're going to look into it. You don't need me to, tell you what to do. You can look at that and come back and report on it. If we find there's disparities in the numbers, we'll report that and put that out there.
Absolutely. You stay on task and you stay on top of things. Anything else?
No, I mean, I would say, Oktoberfest is around.
Yeah, I was going to hit up all sponsors.
Sponsors are a great thing to take a look at. Oktoberfest, we go every year, we cover it.
I can't wait.
We'll put the link in
It's a
there.
fun time.
Cask and Pig's a great place. Mario from Pasta House, opened up, support that. They used to be Trio and it failed because people didn't visit enough.
Mario put a lot of money into that. A lot of people don't realize Mario didn't rent that place. Mario bought that place and he put a lot of money into it, and the effort's there, and he's doing a great job over there. And at some point, once we get our studio all fixed up, I spoke with you about it. We're going to do some live streaming, guys. You want your business spotlighted on our show? We can do that. We're going to run ads, Cask and Pig. We're doing Oktoberfest. We can actually record at your business soon. We'll be doing that pretty shortly at some places. And you'll get a lot of views. New Bedford Guide is growing, and this platform is ahead of its time. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, and I'll end real quick with you can read New Bedford Guide in almost 100 languages. So you go to New Bedford Guide, bottom right, there's a Google Translate button. So anyone in the Spanish community, Portuguese community that doesn't speak fluent, English, we're one of the few sites that you can translate, especially news sites around here. I think we're the only site. On New Bedford Guide. No, NewBedfordGuide.com.
Okay, yep.
Facebook has their own translator.
Yeah. So any of this stuff that you want to share with your Portuguese grandmother or aunt or your Hispanic sister-in-law or your Creole father, you can translate. That's a good option to have. A lot of this local stuff that you can talk about at the dinner table. Try to sit at the dinner table with your family. That's another thing, guys. Eat dinner with your family. Raise your kids. Kiss them at night, and be there for them. Thanks everybody for watching. Another great show this week. I felt we had some good guests. Loved having Manny DeBrito on. That's a guy right there that, born and raised in the city, has made difference in a lot of children's lives, and now he's doing something to make a difference in the community by making sure that you get out and vote and do it comfortably. Also, thank you to Josh Amaral, and again, our sponsors, Oktoberfest New Bedford and the Cask and Pig. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Oktoberfest. Have a great night. Thank you, Mike, for your input and this great story on crime being down in New Bedford.
Yep, tune in next week, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock every Thursday. We will come up with a name. Guys, in the comments, call it the Shiny Head Show, whatever you want to call it. Let's get this Chris Resendes Show out, and let's get a cool name for the show. I love the input, and I appreciate your viewership and your time. Have a great night, guys, and I'll see you next Thursday.